So now we're going to talk about private and out-of-state public colleges and universities. There are over 2,500 private colleges and 1,500 out-of-state public colleges in the United States. So with so many options, it's important to do your research in order to build a college list with options that best fit you. So important factors to consider when making your college list, as mentioned before, include location of the school, the type of campus, the size of the school, and the programs offered, both academic and social. The smaller colleges have smaller class sizes taught by professors, and larger colleges have big class sizes for your first 2 years of college. Small colleges offer you much more individualized support from advisors and professors than you would typically get in a larger school setting. For private colleges, on-campus housing is usually available all 4 years, whereas CSU and UC housing is usually guaranteed just for your first year. After thinking about factors that are important to you, you can utilize California colleges to filter your college search and find colleges that best fit you. As mentioned before, we recommend applying to 7 to 10 schools, and it's important to select schools in each of these categories: likely, targets, and reach schools. Just to delve into it again, likely schools are schools where your academic averages are above their academic averages. Target schools are schools where your academic averages are in line with theirs, and reach schools are those where your academic averages are slightly below their academic averages, but still competitive. When building your college list, it's important to track deadlines and requirements for each school, as they may vary depending on each school that you're applying to. Private and out-of-state colleges consider additional factors not considered by the UCs and CSUs, including your coursework and grades for all 4 years of high school. They also want to see that you've taken challenging coursework and are participating in meaningful extracurricular activities. They may require you to write a few essays, and they generally require letters of recommendation from your counselor and 2 core subject teachers. Some even offer optional interviews from local alumni. So there are 4 main types of admissions, and they vary by colleges. So these are going to be very important to consider when you're making your college list. I recommend starting a spreadsheet, going through your colleges and putting each deadline, just so you have an idea of when things are going to be due. Regular decision is when most students apply, and the deadlines can vary for this. Colleges collect the big pile of applications as they come in and begin evaluating them the day after the deadline. They will notify you of the admissions according to their normal schedule, which is usually mid-March. The next type of admission is rolling admissions, which means that when they receive your application, they will review it promptly, and they will respond to you with their admission decision soon, even as new applications continue to stream in. Next, we have early action, which means that if you submit your application by November 1st, usually they will respond to you by midwinter break. However, with early action, you are not obligated to attend that college. You just need to notify them of your decision by May 1st. The other end of that is early decision, which means that you can only apply to one college early decision, typically by November 1st as well. If they admit you early decision, you have to attend that school, or it will be considered an ethical breach. Some colleges even have early decision number 2 options, so that if you don't get admitted to your first choice college in early decision, you can apply early decision 2 in the next cycle, where applications are usually due January 1st or February 1st. We recommend applying early action. Sometimes it can increase your chances. If you really want to go to a school, they might have a higher acceptance rate of students who apply early. So there are 3 different types of applications. Private and out-of-state colleges require you to use either the Common App, the Coalition App, or their own private application. So some examples of schools that use the Common App include Chapman, Skidmore. Some universities use the Coalition App, such as University of Washington, and school-specific applications are for schools like Georgetown, Montana State, MIT. And if you don't know, you can come to the CCC and we can help you figure out what the application process is for each of the schools on your list. So as mentioned previously, applying to private and out-of-state colleges can take a little more time, as they require additional essays or writing supplements, generally, maybe not for every college. The Common App itself requires students to write 1 general personal essay. Students can choose from 8 prompts, and this essay gets sent to all the colleges. Additionally, each college may have their own writing supplements that they may require. Typically, these are shorter responses, 350 to 650 words, or they can be really short questions. Some examples of prompts for these supplements include, why do you want to attend this college? Is probably the most popular prompt. Or why do you want to major in a specific subject? Some prompts can be very random and serve as a way for the admissions team to learn more about the student. So for example, Chapman University has a question like, list your top 5 favorite books, or if the admissions team could listen to any song while reading your application, what would it be? So just like questions to get to know you a little bit more in depth. In regards to college testing, as a result of test centers canceling test dates due to the pandemic, many private and out-of-state public colleges are now test optional, and some will not even consider test scores, meaning that they are test blind. So it's important to check with each school that you are applying and research test policies for each school and each major. If you have ACT and SAT scores and are applying to private or out-of-state publics that will consider them, you can send them directly from ACT or SAT College Board to the colleges you are applying to. So financial aid. So the total cost of private and out-of-state colleges may vary. Typically, they are much higher than those in UC and CSUs, but these colleges often offer financial aid and merit aid, which can reduce the actual tuition amount significantly. So financial aid is the aid that you get from the federal government, whether that comes, so the FAFSA application, whether that comes from work study or loans, or just the amount of money the federal government will give you. Merit aid is basically the financial aid that the school will give you. This is based on like your grades. So that's why we encourage students to continue trying their best in classes to get the best grades that they can throughout their senior year, so that they have more opportunities to get this merit aid. So it's important to check each college's net price calculator on their websites to get an estimate of what the real cost might be for your family. For students who have strong academic performance in high school or are low income, the real cost of a private college education can be not much more higher than like the UCs. But it's important to file your FAFSA DREAM Act or CSS profile before the deadlines on March 2nd. And just like to go back, the difference between private and public universities, private universities often are funded by alumni or endowments, and they often have a lot of more money to give to students. So whether that's through merit aid or scholarships from the institution itself. So that's why I say, private and out-of-state colleges can seem like they have a very high tuition, like sticker price, but often with the financial aid and the merit aid and the scholarships, that price will be reduced significantly. So when applying to these colleges, it's important to stay on track and gather all the materials you will need. It's recommended that you keep a spreadsheet of requirements and deadlines for each school to ensure that you provide everything that is needed. In regards to coordinating with recommenders, as mentioned previously, most of these colleges will require you to submit letters of recommendation from your counselors and teachers. So to request a letter from your counselor, fill out the counselor letter of recommendation request form on the counseling website. Remember to invite your counselor on the Common App as well. That looks like clicking on the school. There's going to be a questions and FERPA little tab, and then you invite your counselor by putting in their email and sending invite. For your teacher recommendations, it's important to choose carefully. Consider asking teachers whose class you did well in, or a teacher who teaches a subject that you enjoy and or hope to continue studying in college. It's also important to request these recommendations early, as your teachers will likely have to write recommendations for other students. You also have to remember to invite your teachers on the Common App and waive your rights, your FERPA rights. So this means that you waive your right to read the recommendation. Ultimately, this makes for a stronger recommendation because the school knows that the teacher is telling the whole truth. But you have to trust that your teachers want to write good recommendations for you and write about you in a good light. And in regards to transcripts, counselors can send these via Common App. If the college you are applying to wants a hard copy and or a final transcript, you can request this as well from the counselors. When it comes to submitting your application, it's recommended that you review your application to ensure that you answered all the questions and completed all the writing supplements and additional requirements. You can schedule a time to meet with myself and or Mr. Slavin so we can like proofread your applications, as accuracy is paramount. Lastly, after submitting your application, it's important to stay in touch. Remember to check emails and college portals frequently and respond promptly to any college correspondences. You may have missed a document to submit and they may reach out to you. So you want to stay on top of that. It's important to stay on track during this time in regards to your grades as well. Colleges will want your mid-year and final grade reports. So remember that college offers are conditional, meaning that if you don't keep your senior grades up, they can and will rescind or take back their offer, which is not what we want for you. So make sure that you're keeping your grades up, getting academic support from tutors or teachers to ensure that your offer will stand. Thank you.